So this video I'm going to be addressing to the Amish Mennonites once again, as I do from time to time. And why? Because my mother and father left the Amish when I was a year old. So I'm essentially related by blood to all the Amish. I mean, after all, my mother and father were third cousins. And some of my cousins' mother and father were second cousins. They never went as far as first cousins, though. Now, if you're wondering why I'm wearing this burlap sack with the Jude yellow star, it is because I stand with them versus the murderous, raping, and pillaging Christians who mercilessly tortured the Jews, just like they tortured mercilessly and murdered the Anabaptists. That's why I wear this, because I stand with the Jew, not with the murdering Christians. Now, I have done several videos. You can see that I pulled them up here. The Amish, Jewish, and Hutterite, the message of warning to the Mennonites, and examining Amish national origin. You can see here. This was in Family Tree DNA before they changed it up. They said 5 5% Sephardic, 3.35 Ashkenazi, etc. Okay, I think it was FTDNA. All right, now. Then the next one was Amish Jewish Connection Explained. Today I dispel the myth of Amish German origin. And that is one of those things, folks, that really burn me when the Amish claim that they're Jewish. Okay? I mean, when the Amish claim that they're German and not Jewish. I'm sorry. I fumble my words a little bit. Now, I met a Jewish girl. She was in her 20s, about 10 years ago, I believe it was, in Raleigh, North Carolina. How we crossed paths blows my mind, but I'm not going to mention that. Well, she was doing community service, if that tells you anything. But her grandparents were kicked out of Iraq when Israel declared themselves a state in 1948, and they were left with nothing but the clothes on their back. The Iraqis stole everything from them. And this young lady's dad was a genealogist. So I asked her, because my dad, my uncles, and my cousin's grandfather, what was his name? It'll come to me in a second. But they all whispered to the children that we have Jewish ancestry among the Amish. So, in this last video that I did, I showed in GED Match the Natufian connection. And those of you who do not know what Natufian is, all you got to do is go Google it and you will see. Look at maps and you'll see the kingdom of David. That's right, you'll see the kingdom of David. And it showed in Gedrosia's Near East Neolithic test and GED match, it shows 40% Natufian. And of course I had my mother and father's up there too, and it was exactly the same as mine. And I can tell you, you Amish, that most of yours are going to be exactly the same as mine, because let's be honest, we are all cousins, are we not, except for the ones who were adopted. Come on. You know it's true. But you see, folks, I have got some new information. I've got new information that shocked me so much yesterday that I had to call my cousin up in Maryland and tell him about it, because I wasn't going to be able to sleep unless I did. Now my cousin, he never took the ordnung promise, or whatever you want to, whatever they call that, to become Amish. So at his dad's funeral recently, some of the Amish said, you need to come and follow the ordnung. And he says, why would I do that? So, you know, once you follow the ordnung and then you leave, then you are disfellowshipped, or you are shunned, and most of the Amish won't even speak to you or even sit in the next table. But since my cousin never took the ordnung promise, they don't treat him that way. But anyway, I'm going on a tangent here. So what happened was, I believe it was it this one? I have to go look. Nope, not. I'll get to that in just a second. It was Eurogene's K13 ANE in GED match. Let's see if we can pull it up. Let's see here. No, why? Okay, hold on. I didn't do it right. It's going to take a minute. While this is pulling up, I might just go here and show you this. So these are the ancient DNA samples available to GED match users. So these are matching segments for my kit in GED match. And you will see Sweden, you will see Germany, Neanderthal, Russian, Croatia, Ireland, Switzerland, the Republic of Georgia, Ireland, Georgia, Sweden, Russia, Germany, Sweden, Italy, Germany, Russia, and the Volga steppes of Russia, Samara River, Russia, Iberian Peninsula, those of you who don't know what Iberian Peninsula, that would be Spain and Portugal. You go Anatolia, which would be Turkey. We go Hungary, Anatolia, early Anglo-Saxon in England. And then you have England, which is Roman England, right here in York's area, and I believe that was Roman occupied, as I understand. Then you got Siberia, Sweden, Luxembourg, oh, Montana, somebody in Montana. So these are all these people that I'm related to, and they're all scattered in the four winds of the sky, as you can see. Well, they're scattered in the north and in the west. Okay? What does that mean? Why am I talking about that? I'll get to that in just a minute. Alright, I don't know what happened here, but I'll have to restart this. Alright, if y'all will be patient with me, I'm not going to start over. after I screw this up. I may have to start from scratch here. It looks to me like that's what I might have to do. Why is this thing? I'll just go to GED Match then. Okay. So they have issues with their, it looks like I got to pull these down. Maybe I'll just sign into Classic. I don't know. Okay. All right. So you go to Add Mixture. Select the project. It would be Eurogenes. All right. We'll continue. Enter my kit number. There it is right there. So not Eurogenes K13. It would be Eurogenes ANE K7. So you see how complex and difficult this is, because some of these others that use, for instance, Eurogenes hunter and gatherer versus farmer, it just says European hunter-gatherer this much and farmer this much. But what they don't tell you is what this one, the Eurogenes ANE, says. This is going to be very interesting, folks. So I'm looking at these abbreviations and I don't know what I'm looking at, right? So I first went to ANE. What is ANE? So we go and look at abbreviations in GED Match. Ancient North Eurasian. Well, I find out that that is the Russian part. Okay? And it's way, way up north in Russia, in the central part of Russia. All right, so let's look at, that's 13.58% they say. Notice I said they say. So ASC, well, the 1.27 doesn't really mean much, so I'll just skip over that. What does WHG-UHG mean? Let me show you something. And this has stumped me for years in that all I ever saw in every other calculator, in every other DNA calculator, all I saw was in the ancient genes, or the ancient calculations, was WHG. I never saw UHG or WHG-U. What does that mean? And it's a very good question, because you see 57.93% here. That makes it a very good question. So we go back to abbreviation. See, I finally found this abbreviation link here for summary of abbreviations in admix calculators. This article gives detailed descriptions of abbreviations used in the GED Match admixture projects. We see right here that they have two lines for WHG. Why? Why would you do that? Western hunter-gatherer. This line is here for those they know are Western hunter-gatherers. This line is not. This line is Western hunter-gatherer dash unknown hunter-gatherer. Are you, any of you, capable of discerning what you just saw? Those of you with any sort of intelligence quotient will realize that this is only an assumption of Western hunter-gatherer. The truth is, they are unknown. Unknown. 57, almost 58%. Scattered among the Western nations, but are unknown, but known to be hunter-gatherers in the ancient world, but are really, in all truth, not Western hunter, because they have a line for Western hunter-gatherer. Now it's clear as mud, isn't it? So you say you're Germans, huh? Amish? I wish you'd quit saying that. I mean, after all, when I told this Jewish girl who we were, and who, by our last names, and then who the Amish claimed that they were, she laughed and she said, "How can they be so stupid?" My Amish brothers, how do you like a young Jewish girl knowing what you are and you refusing to get off of your German high horse? How can she be so much smarter than you, you old men? Well, her daddy, the genealogist, taught her. That's how. Her daddy knows all the last names used by Jews and what percentage of them were Jews and what percentages of them were not. You see. Western hunter-gatherer dash unknown hunter-gatherer versus just Western hunter-gatherer. They don't know. They don't know. But folks, are you ready for the fun part? Let's look at the fun part here, shall we? Make sure, okay, let's pass this up again. East Eurasian, less than 1%. West Africa, less than less than 0.25%. So that is an anomaly that doesn't really belong there. E and F, more than 1/4. So far, a smattering of northern mid-Russia, vast majority being unknown hunter-gatherer that's in the West, and this one, E and F. Are you ready for that one? E and F, early Neolithic farmer. Early Neolithic farmer? Well, since I'm done with this one, let's look up what early Neolithic farmer is. Okay, should I do maps or images? I'm not sure. Nope, that's not it. I had it yesterday and I all right, there it is right here. This is probably the best map I'm going to find. That would be the Fertile Crescent, essentially. All right. You can see it right here. You can see it right here. All right? You have the land of Israel. You have Anatolia. You have Syria. You have Canaan, parts of Iran and Iraq. (26%). Now, let's look a little bit deeper. Now, of course, they don't know. They don't know years, folks. So let's just throw the 10,000 BC business out. The Neolithic revolution started in the Fertile Crescent, a boomerang-shaped region in the Middle East where humans first took up farming. In other words, essentially what it really means is right after the flood, they settled in the Fertile Crescent. We all know this. But some of them went north. The sons of Japheth went north and west. And the sons of Shem, mainly the sons of Shem, stayed in the Fertile Crescent. And now we can go look at images or maps. I'm not sure which one. Right here. Right here. We start in northern Sinai, southern Israel, and we go upwards into here all the way down. This is the Fertile Crescent. We all know what the Fertile Crescent is. So 58% unknown hunter-gatherer, and 26% Fertile Crescent. There's really not much left. So how do we figure this out? Obviously, these people spread into the west because, as you can see from my little previous chart, they were in Turkey, they were in Russia, they were in Germany, they were in England, Spain and Portugal, Italy, scattered all over the west. It's time to use scripture, folks. All right. Now, when Yehoshua was speaking to the Zidonian woman, what was his answer? Well, what was his answer to her when she told him, "Help me"? I was only sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Do you know what the lost sheep of the house of Israel is? The lost 10 tribes. All right. Let's go to Hosea 7, shall we? This is talking about the house of Israel, the 10 tribes. I would have healed Israel from then the iniquity of Ephraim. That was the leader of Israel. Ephraim in Samaria was uncovered, and the wickedness of Samaria, because they commit falsehood, and the thief roams around, and there are troops of robbers among them. They allow that to happen. He would have healed them. They make the king glad with their wickedness and the princes with their lies. You see, they're all adulterers. They're scorners. They're hot as an oven, and they have gotten rid of their righteous judges, and their kings are, fallen by the wayside. There is none among them that calls unto me. Now, Ephraim has mixed himself among the people. He is a cake, it says, not turn, to overturn. Now, let's look at this real carefully. And because he mixes himself among the people, he is a cake that is overthrown, overthrown, overturned, perverted, tumbled, turned aside, turned over, turned around. It could overthrew can also mean thrown out, because it was no good, because he mingled himself among the Gentiles. All right? But overturned is what it means. The pride of Israel testifies to the face, yet they do not return to, not Lord, but Yehovah, Elohim. Even after this, they don't seek him. After all these terrible things, they still won't seek him. Then he says, they return, but not to the Most High. They are a deceitful bow, and their princes shall fall by the sword for the rage of their tongue. And this shall be a mocking and a derision in the land of Egypt. Now, I want to go to Hosea 11. So, Yehovah has turmoil inside himself. But the edict was given and cannot be changed. He'd be thrown out. Overthrown, thrown out. Right? Then he talks about the house of Israel. When Israel was a child, I loved him and called my son out of Egypt. And they called, they proclaimed, and they read, and they went from him, and they sacrificed unto Baal, just like the Christians do today, and burn incense to graven images, just like Christians do today. I taught Ephraim to go, how to walk, taking them by the arm, but they did not know that I healed them. I dragged with a rope, with love, and I was to them as they that take the yoke on their jaw. I even laid meat in front of them. He returned into the land of Egypt. And because of that, the Assyrian shall be his king, because they refused to return. And that's what happened. The Assyrians took them, the house of Israel, the lost 10 tribes, into slavery. And please, folks, be careful while reading this in King James Version. As I've told you, if you read it in the King James Version way, it'll be clear as mud. You got to use Strong's Concordance like I'm doing right now. The sword bore, well, it says excitement, but it does mean the cities. I don't know why. Fortified height cities. Okay? And put an end to, it says complete, at an end, finished, accomplished, or spent. The branches. The limbs, the branches. And eat, devour them because of their counsels. My people are bent to backsliding. They proclaim the Most High, but none will exalt him. Then he says, set Ephraim to deliver up Israel, to give, to put, to set you as Admah. Listen. Admah and Zeboim were sister cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. Set you as Zeboim. my inner man is turned, has changed to comfort and compassion, to grow warm and tender and unitedness. We'll stop right here. We'll continue. So how does this happen? When is this change of heart going to happen in Yehovah Elohim of Israel? It says so in Ezekiel 37. And I think I will, is this, okay, so I'm going to read part of this in New International Version, then I'm going to go back to King James in Strong's Concordance. The word of Yehovah came to me, saying, Son of man, take the stick of wood and write on it, belonging to Judah and the Israelites that are associated with him. Please listen carefully. The Israelites that are associated with the house of Judah, the Jews. Then take another stick of wood and write on it to him, write on it, belonging to Joseph, that is, to Ephraim, and all the Israelites associated with him. The Israelites that were associated with Joseph/Ephraim are lost. Those are the lost 10 tribes. The Jews, those who practice Judaism, are not lost. They are lost only partially, as Paul states in Romans 11. He said they are blinded partially until the time of the Gentiles comes to the end. But the house of Israel is completely lost and completely blinded. But he said he's going to have judgment upon them first, which we read in Hosea 7, and then he's going to turn and have compassion upon them. We just read that. When does this occur? What time? What kind of time markers are we going to have that show this event is taking place? Now, the Jews claim this has already taken place. That is not true. That is not true, and I have proof right here. Then when your people shall say, won't you tell us what this means? Say unto them, this is what Yehovah says. Okay, I'm going to go back to Strong's Concordance. King James. Now, the church likes to say that this is speaking of the resurrection. It is not. The vision explained. Then he said unto me, Son of man, these bones are what? The church? No, it is not. The whole house of Israel. Not just Judah. Not just the lost 10 tribes. No, the whole house of Judah, Israel, because they say, our bones are dried up and our hope is lost and we are cut off from our portion, from our land. We are cut off. We are divided. Divided into 2 nations. Therefore prophesy and say unto them, thus saith Adonai Yehovah, O my people, I will open your graves. Oh, Henry, but it is talking about the resurrection. Or is it? And cause you to come up out of your graves and bring you to the land of Israel. The heaven? Wait a minute. Heaven is not the land of Israel. Is it? No. And you shall know Yehovah when I open your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves. When I put my spirit in you, you shall live, and I will set you in your own land, and then you shall know that Yehovah has spoken it and performed it, says Yehovah. Now watch this. Hold on. The word of not the Lord, Yehovah, came again unto me. Moreover, you son of man, take you this one stick, and write upon it for Yehudah, and for the children of Israel, as you read in a new one of the other translations, the people of Israel that are with Judah, which are the Jews. And then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for the people of Israel that are with him. That would be the lost 10 tribes. And join them together to one another into one stick, and they shall become one in your hand. And when these children of your people shall speak unto you, saying, won't you show us what this means? And he said unto them, Adonai Yehovah, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the other tribes that are with them, which were altogether as lost 10 tribes, and I will put them even with the stick of Yehudah. So he will bring them to the stick of Yehudah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in my hand. And the 2 sticks where you write upon shall be in your hand before their eyes. You're going to show this to them as a prophet, and say unto them, Adonai Yehovah says, I will take the children of Israel from among the Gentiles, whither they be gone. So among the Gentiles, from among the Gentiles is the grave. And you thought it was talking about the resurrection. That's what you thought, but you were wrong. Your preachers lied to you. This is talking about taking all of Israel out of the land of the Gentiles, no matter who they are or where they are, mixed breed or not, out of the land of the Gowi, where they are gone. And they will be gathered on every side, from the north, south, east, and west, and bring them into their own land, and make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, not into heaven. And one king shall be king unto them all. And they will no more be 2 nations, neither shall they be divided into 2 kingdoms any more at all. And neither shall they defile themselves any more with idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with their transgressions. For I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, claiming Jesus Christ as their Savior when he is not. How dare this Henry with his Jude badge on say such things? No, how dare you go and follow the ways of the Gentiles? The name of the Messiah, the Moshiach, was Yehoshua, is Yehoshua, and shall always be Yehoshua, because in that name are 2 words, Yehovah and Hoshea. It means Jehovah's, or Yehovah is, salvation. If it does not have those 2 words in it, it's a compound word, Yehoshua is. If it does not have those 2 words in it, he is not the Messiah. And Jesus does not mean Jehovah's salvation. It cannot mean, it never will mean, Jehovah's salvation. And will cleanse them, and so they shall be my people, and I will be their Elohim. Now in Hebrew, this should read, Ben David, my servant will be king. Then they will have one shepherd, and they will also walk in my judgments, and observe my statutes, and do them. And they will dwell in the land that I have given to Jacob my servant, where your fathers have dwelt. Yes, he's going to make a covenant of peace with them. And Christians, they claim it's going to be a false peace. Because Christians today accuse Israel's real Messiah of being their Antichrist. And where did they get that from? They get that from Cyril the Catholic's 15th Catechetical Lecture. That's where they get it. So, once again, and the vast majority of you Amish will have what I have. The WHG, which would be Western Hunter-Gatherers / Unknown Hunter-Gatherers. You are unknown, but you will find your roots in the fertile Crescent, where Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob lived and flourished.